Welcome to this comprehensive leather crafting tutorial where we'll be creating an elegant mini paddle earrings and necklace set. This project combines traditional leatherworking techniques with modern jewelry design to create a stunning accessory set that's both stylish and unique. Introduction and materials overview. Today we're going to craft a beautiful set of mini paddle earrings along with a matching necklace pendant. This project is perfect for both beginners and experienced leatherworkers who want to explore jewelry making. The finished pieces will have a sophisticated, minimalist aesthetic that can complement both casual and formal outfits. For this project, you'll need several essential materials. First, we'll be working with high-quality leather. I'm using a gorgeous purple crocodile-pressed leather that gives a luxurious, shiny finish. You'll also need thin veg-tan leather for the handles, preferably around 1 mm thickness with a complementary finish. Additionally, gather your basic leatherworking tools: sharp craft knife, cutting mat, burnishing tools, awl, needles, wax thread, and quality leather glue. Creating the pattern and initial cutting, let's begin by preparing our cardboard pattern. I've designed mine to be 6 centimeters in length with beautifully rounded edges that give a feminine, elegant appearance. The rounded edges are crucial as they prevent the finished pieces from looking too harsh or geometric. Take your time with this pattern, it's the foundation of your entire project. When creating your pattern, consider the proportions carefully. The 6 centimeter length works perfectly for earrings as it's substantial enough to make a statement without being overwhelming. If you're making just the necklace pendant, you might want to go slightly larger, perhaps 7 or 8 centimeters, to create a nice focal point. Now we'll trace and cut our leather pieces. You'll need 4 pieces if you're making just the earrings, or 6 pieces total if you're including the necklace pendant. When tracing, use a sharp pencil or awl to ensure clean, precise lines. The quality of your cutting will directly impact the final appearance of your pieces. When cutting the leather, use a sharp craft knife and make confident, smooth cuts. Don't saw back and forth, instead make deliberate strokes following your traced lines. The crocodile-pressed leather I'm using not only looks stunning but also cuts cleanly and holds its shape well throughout the construction process.
Position the smaller pieces carefully between your main layers. This step requires patience and precision. The inner piece must be perfectly centered so that when you sew around the edges, you maintain an even border all the way around. Use a ruler to measure and ensure equal spacing from all edges. Apply a thin, even layer of leather glue to one surface of the inner piece. High-quality leather cement works best for this application. Position it carefully on one of your main pieces, then place the second main piece on top. Press firmly and evenly to ensure good adhesion. The leather you choose for all layers must be relatively thin to avoid creating a bulky final product. Thick leather will be difficult to sew through and will create an unprofessional appearance. Allow these assembled pieces to dry for several minutes while you prepare the handles. The handles are perhaps the most distinctive feature of these mini paddle accessories. I'm using 1 mm vegan leather with a glossy finish that complements the crocodile-pressed main body perfectly. The contrast between textures adds visual interest while maintaining color harmony. Cut 3 handle pieces, 1 for each earring and 1 for the necklace pendant. Each handle should be sized to fit proportionally with the paddle body. I keep the width of the handle end the same as the width of the paddle end to create visual continuity and structural stability. The handle must also accommodate the metal findings, either jump rings for earrings or a bail for the necklace. Cut a slot or opening that will allow the metal finding to sit securely while maintaining the structural integrity of the handle. Consider the overall proportions as you work. The handle should look like a natural extension of the paddle, not an afterthought. Take measurements and double-check your cuts before committing to the leather. Attach your metal findings with care. For earrings, I'm using quality jump rings that will connect to ear wires. For the necklace, choose an appropriate bail or jump ring that will accommodate your chosen chain. You can install the hardware in two ways, either insert it into the handle during assembly or attach it to the completed handle using jewelry pliers. The first method creates a more integrated look, while the second allows for easier hardware changes later. When installing jump rings or other findings, ensure they move freely and aren't pinched by the leather. Test the movement before proceeding to the gluing step. Handle assembly and attachment. Apply leather glue to attach the handle layers together, leaving appropriate space for your metal findings. The glue should be applied evenly but not excessively. Too much glue can seep out and create a messy appearance or interfere with the hardware movement. Press the layers together firmly and hold for several seconds to ensure initial bonding. Allow adequate drying time. Rushing the step can compromise the structural integrity of your handles. Once the handles are dry, test fit them to your paddle bodies. The connection point should be seamless and proportional. If adjustments are needed, now is the time to make them with sandpaper or a sharp knife. Now we bring everything together. Apply glue to attach the handles to the paddle bodies, then add the second layer of each paddle. This creates a sandwich construction that's both strong and attractive. Press all layers together firmly and evenly. Use a bone folder or similar tool to ensure good contact across all surfaces. Pay special attention to the connection point between handle and paddle body. This is where stress will be concentrated during wear. Allow the complete assemblies to dry thoroughly. The drying time will depend on your glue choice and environmental conditions, but don't rush this crucial step. Preparation and burnishing. Once fully dry, use sandpaper or a sharp knife to adjust the edges for perfect alignment. All layers should be flush with each other for a professional appearance. Now we'll burnish the edges using Tokonole, a traditional Japanese burnishing compound, and a burnishing tool. Apply a small amount of Tokonole to the edges and work it in with your burnishing tool, using firm, consistent pressure. The burnishing process takes patience. Work each edge systematically, building up heat through friction. The goal is to create smooth, glossy edges that look finished and professional. Repeat this process on all pieces, including the handles. For authentic-looking stitching, we need to mark our stitch lines accurately. I'm using a specialized hole tracer, but you can achieve similar results with a ruler and awl by marking consistent intervals. The stitch line should be parallel to the edge and set in an appropriate distance, typically 3 to 4 millimeters from the edge. This distance affects both the appearance and structural integrity of your pieces. Mark all pieces consistently, including the handles. The stitching on the handles should align with the stitching on the paddle bodies for a cohesive look. Take your time with this marking process. Uneven or crooked stitch lines will be immediately apparent in the finished product and cannot be easily corrected once you begin sewing. Creating perfect stitch holes. Use your awl to create holes for sewing. Each hole should be perpendicular to the leather surface and sized appropriately for your chosen thread. The holes should be large enough to accommodate the thread without struggle, but not so large that they weaken the leather or create gaps. Work systematically around each piece, ensuring consistent hole spacing and depth. The rhythm of creating these holes is actually quite meditative once you establish a good technique. Test your holes with the actual thread you'll be using. If adjustments are needed, now is the time to make them before you begin the actual stitching process. Now we'll employ the traditional saddle stitch, which is the strongest and most attractive hand stitching method for leatherwork. Thread your needle with wax thread appropriate for leatherworking. I'm using a fine thread for a delicate, minimalist appearance that won't overpower the small scale of these pieces. The saddle stitch involves passing the thread through each hole from both sides, creating a strong, attractive seam that won't unravel even if one thread breaks. Start from one end and work systematically toward the other. Maintain consistent tension throughout your stitching. Too loose and the stitches will look sloppy, too tight and you risk cutting through the leather. Each stitch should sit snugly against the leather surface. The stitching process requires patience and attention to detail. Take breaks if your hands get tired. Consistent stitch quality is more important than speed. Final edge, finishing and paint application. With the stitching complete, we move to the final edge finishing. I'm using black edge paint, which creates a beautiful contrast with the purple leather and gives a sophisticated, finished appearance. Apply the edge paint carefully with a small brush or applicator. The paint should cover the raw leather edge completely, but not extend onto the finished leather surface. Work in thin, even coats rather than trying to achieve full coverage in one application. Allow each coat to dry completely before applying the next. Multiple thin coats will give a much better result than one thick coat, which might crack or peel over time. With the stitching complete, we move to the final edge finishing. I'm using black edge paint, which creates a beautiful contrast with the purple leather and gives a sophisticated, finished appearance. Apply the edge paint carefully with a small brush or applicator. The paint should cover the raw leather edge completely, but not extend onto the finished leather surface. Work in thin, even coats rather than trying to achieve full coverage in one application. Allow each coat to dry completely before applying the next. Multiple thin coats will give a much better result than one thick coat, which might crack or peel over time. Before declaring your project complete, conduct a thorough quality inspection. Check all joints for proper adhesion, examine the stitching for consistency and security, and verify that all hardware moves freely. Test the balance and weight of each piece. The earrings should hang properly without twisting, and the necklace pendant should sit correctly when worn. Make any final adjustments to edges or hardware as needed. This attention to detail is what separates handmade craft items from truly professional leather goods. Your mini paddle earrings and necklace set is now complete. These pieces represent a perfect blend of traditional leather crafting techniques and contemporary jewelry design. The attention to detail in construction, from the layered body construction to the hand-stitched edges, creates accessories that will be treasured for years to come. To maintain these pieces, avoid exposure to excessive moisture and store them in a dry place when not wearing them. The quality leather and construction techniques used will ensure these accessories age beautifully with proper care. This project demonstrates how traditional crafts can be adapted to create modern, wearable art. The skills you've learned here can be applied to countless other leather goods projects, from larger accessories to functional items. Thank you for following along with this detailed tutorial.